When it comes to matters of religion, there are only three types of people in this world. And these people are defined in the Quran right at the beginning, in the second chapter. So God says in the Quran, this book, there is no doubt in it, is a guide for those who are careful of their duty. Those who believe in the unseen and keep up prayer and give out of what we have given them. And those who believe in what has been sent down to you and what has been sent down before you, and they are sure of the hereafter. These are on the right course from their Lord, and these it is that shall be successful. As for those who disbelieve, whether you warn them or not, they will not believe. God has set a seal on their hearts and their hearing, and there is a veil over their eyes, and they will have a painful punishment. And then there are those who say, we believe in God in the last day, but they are not at all believers. They seek to deceive God and those who believe, but they deceive only themselves while they do not perceive. There is a disease in their hearts. So God has increased their disease, and they will have a painful punishment because they lied. And when they are told, do not spread corruption in the earth, they say, we're the ones setting things right. But they are the corruption. They are the spreaders of corruption, but they do not perceive. And when they are told, believe as the people believe, they say, shall we believe as the fools believe? But they are the fools, but they do not know. And when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe. But when they are alone with their devils, they say, surely we are with you, we were only mocking. God will pay them back for their mockery, and He leaves them alone in their disobedience, blindly wandering on. These are they who buy error for their guidance, and their bargain will bring them no gain, nor are they followers of the right direction. Their example is like an example of the one who started a fire, and when it lit up all around him, God took away their light and left him in utter darkness, and they cannot see. Deaf, dumb, and blind, they will not turn back. So in these verses, God describes three types of people and some of their characteristics. So those who believe, they believe in what has been revealed in the Quran, and they believe what has been revealed before it, and to prophets before it, the Messiah, Prophet Jesus, Moses, Abraham. They believe all of that. They believe in the unseen. They believe in they're sure of the hereafter. They know that they are going to stand before God one day. They keep up prayer and they give charity. So basically, some of the basic characteristics of these people involve prayer, giving charity, and belief in previous scriptures. And there's a discussion in this. I'm not saying you have to blindly believe in the Bible and things like that, because when one studies the development of the biblical canon, one realizes that not what is in there is mostly corrupt. A lot of it is just writings of priests, but a lot of it, like what Moses got from God, the Ten Commandments and the teachings of the Messiah that are quoted in the Bible, his moral characteristics, his moral commandments, all of that is legit. All of that is 100% legit. And so these are the characteristics. These are the people who will be successful. And success is always defined as avoiding hell and making it to heaven. It has nothing to do with this worldly life. Then there are those who disbelieve. And whether you warn them or not, they will not believe. God put a seal on their hearts and their eyes and their hearing, and they just cannot see. Now, I was an atheist myself. I am not here to say that atheists are bad people. I actually know some atheists who are great people, actually. They have, as far as I know, they have great moral characteristics, and I respect them. But other than occasional, answer to their question or something like that, occasional mild discussion, there is no point in trying to convince them. There's no point in trying to convert them. You can't do that. And I'll tell you that from personal experience. When I was an atheist, there is nobody in this world that could convince me to believe in God. Nobody. And the more people tried, the more I was able to put seeds of doubt in their mind, because they didn't study the Quran. They didn't study religion. They weren't sure. They doubted. They made themselves fall into temptation, just like God said. So disbelievers, whether you warn them or not, they will not believe. So you have no business trying to make them believe, nor have religious discussions with them. Just show your faith on your deeds, and if they see it, if they like it, if they know it, God, or if God knows something in them, God will guide them to the right path. Maybe you are just there to demonstrate the right path, which they are already predisposed to. They just needed to see it. But to have discussions with them and get upset and try to convince them and to have debates is pointless, and it can be harmful to you, because you can be guilty of what they say. Because in other places of the Quran, God says, and if you are, basically, I'll paraphrase, if you are sitting with people and you hear the verses of God mocked or disbelieved in, do not sit with them until they enter into another discussion, for you might be as guilty as they are. So, have I always avoided this? No. In the beginning, I thought I could just convince everybody. So, but as I learned, I realized this. So, number one, you're never going to be able to convince them. And number two, you're going to share in their guilt from their arguments, because they are going to deny God. They are going to ridicule religion. Not because they are bad people, but because that is their stance at this point in life. And the only entity that can change that is God himself. And I really, like I said, I have atheist friends who I pray for, who I hope for, who I honestly expect that God will guide them on the right path because of what I see in them. God knows better, but I see good in a lot of these people, and I just cannot envision God letting them go on with the rest of their lives, being misled by whatever they're being misled by. But that doesn't mean I can't be friends with them. That does not mean I cannot treat them with justice and kindness. It just means that I should not have debates about religion with them. So those are the first two, those who clearly believe and those who clearly disbelieve. And I personally have respect for those two categories. The last category is those who pretend to believe, the hypocrites. So God explains their destiny. So God says, then there are those who say we believe in God in the last day, but they are not at all believers. They seek to deceive God and those who believe, but they only deceive themselves, but they do not perceive. So what God is saying there is these people, they are trying to be members of a community, basically. That's what it means. They are trying to deceive God, and they can't deceive God. But they think they can. They think that they can pretend to believe, and they're just kind of part-time religious people or whatever, and they're trying to be a part of community. But they're only deceiving themselves. They are literally destroying themselves. So they're saying, I'm cool like this. I can live my life like this. I have the benefits of being a part of this community. If I need help, I have friends. I have all of this. They're not honest with themselves. And that's a big problem. When you are not honest with yourself, that is a big problem. So God says, basically, when they're told, don't spread corruption in the earth, they say, but we are setting things right. So under guise of religion, they are destroying the whole society. They are destroying the religion from within. When you tell them God forbade this, they say, no, this is good. So the easiest way to explain this, you have people who have normalized all kinds of immoralities, and now you have people in mosques, in churches, who say that these things are okay in the name of some sort of enlightenment. That is so. Let's take, for example, I personally don't care about what people who are homosexuals do, no more than I care about people who are fornicators or adulterers. But it is wrong. Those things are wrong, but they are being normalized in the sense of enlightenment and personal freedoms and kindness and mercy by people of religion. Now, if you want to be those things, you can be those things. We live in a free world, and just because I say that I am opposed to this behavior, that you should stop, it doesn't mean I'm oppressing you. You're free to do as you please. But when you start to make it a matter of religion, saying, I want to be accepted in this religion that forbids this, I want you to make changes where I will feel comfortable being in a mosque, being in a church, and those people who do that, and those people who succumb to those pressures, they do so in the name of setting things right, setting right injustices. And this is what God is speaking. This is just one example. It happens with a lot more things, but I think this particular example, the reason why I chose it is because it's very highlighted in our society currently. Not because I have any particular animosity toward these particular people. So this is exactly what's happening, what God says that these people are going to do, and God explains their reasoning. They say we are setting things right. So when they are told follow the laws of God, and they know what the laws of God are, they say, no, this is inadequate, this is not enlightened, we are going to change it into what we think is right. And they say we are enlightened ones, and all of you guys that want to follow the actual laws of God are stupid. And then God continues, to explain, when they meet, so when they're told, believe as the people believe, they're basically saying, are we going to believe as the fools believe? So when they consider, the people who want to follow the laws of God as fools, but they themselves, so God says they themselves are the fools. They just don't know it. They truly feel that they are smarter than God. But when they meet those who believe, they say we believe. So again, it goes back to this belonging to a community, eroding the community from within. They have good intentions. I'm not saying that their intentions are not good. I'm not going to accuse anybody of bad intentions of seeking to destroy religion and they're playing this spy game. No, they are simply don't really believe in God, but they do value the institution of religion. And they see themselves as a part of that community, and they want to improve it. But they are foolish. They think they know better, but they are foolish. And that's what God is talking about. So when they come to those who believe, they say we believe, but they are not at all believers. They mock true commandments of God. They mock religion. They don't mock religion, they mock true commandments of God. So when they're alone with their devils, so when the devil is whispering to them, this is, you can go get high, you can go and, party, God doesn't care about this, and, or you can go eat this forbidden food, they'll, when somebody tells them otherwise, they'll be like, oh, these people are judging me, or there are haram police, or whatever, These people don't really believe. And this is what God is saying. And God says, I will pay them back their mockery by leaving them wandering alone, wandering on in their disobedience, in their transgression. So God doesn't want to turn these people around. He allows them to stay convinced in their path, to stay convinced in what they are doing. This is the worst. You never change. And you will never be successful. You die and you go to hell. So that's why, so God leaves them alone in their mockery and lets them blindly go on. God says these are the people who buy error for guidance. So what they are doing is they are trading guidance. They are trading the Quran. They are trading the rules and laws of the Quran, or even the rules and laws of the Messiah, or you know what, of the 10 Commandments. It doesn't matter. They're all the same. They are trading these rules and laws for error, for their own personal opinion, or opinion of people whom they hold in esteem or respect or authority. They're literally buying what they are paying with guidance to buy error, and you know, that bargain will bring them no gain. That bargain takes them to hell. So that's what God says. That bargain will bring them no gain, nor are they followers of the right direction. And their example is like an example of a person who started a fire, who lit a fire. And when the fire illuminated, you know, lit up everything around them, they saw it for a moment. They saw, you know, God takes away their light and leaves them in utter darkness. Deaf, dumb, and blind. They will not turn back. So basically what this is saying is, if you don't really believe in God, it's better not to pretend. Because once you start pretending, not only are you destroying the community from within, not only are you destroying yourselves, but that is more likely for you never to turn back. God will actually take away your light and will let you be deaf, dumb, and blind. And not, you know, God says in other places in the Quran, it isn't the eyes that are blind, it is the hearts. God can simply make you not understand your error. You will hear and see everything, but you will comprehend it in such a way to where you will never find the right path. So this is first, I think, 20 verses of the second chapter of the Quran. So this is the very beginning of the Quran. And once you start reading it, the first thing you need to do is identify yourself. Once you identify yourself, you have a chance. So when I read the Quran, as soon as I started reading it, I knew who I was. And then I was able to, you know, thank God, God took that disbelief out of my heart. I wouldn't be able to do it myself. I was so sure of it that there's nothing I could have done. Nobody could have done. Nothing. Why God did it for me, why God had that mercy on me, I don't know. But I am grateful. So if God does that to you, if you disbelieve and you have any sort of a doubt, embrace it. That's God inviting you. If you are those who believe, you know, but you think you believe, but you fit the description of those who are simply pretending, you have a serious problem. You probably have the greatest problem of all of us. And if you are of those who believe, and you keep up prayer, and you give your charity, and you believe in what has been revealed before you and in the Quran, you need to do everything you can to embody the characteristics that are described in the Quran as the right path, as the wisdom, as the servants of the most gracious. Right path is described in 6:151 to 153. Wisdom is described in chapter 17. The characteristics of the servants of the most gracious are described in chapter 25. And there's so much more. If you are of those who truly believe that you will be brought up to judgment, all of your effort, all of it, the greatest effort, has to be toward changing yourself and being that type of a person. Everything else is pointless. You have to do that. And I've been doing it for almost 9 years now, and I am still deficient. I am making progress, but when you realize how hard it is just to control your temper, just to control your arrogance, just to control these basic things that you don't even realize you're sick with before you start trying, once you realize that, it takes a long time. And I don't know if it's taken a long time for me because I'm more sick than other people, or it's just because that's what it is. It's that hard. I don't know that. But I tell you from personal experience, this is very hard. So this is it. So whoever you are, you fit in one of these three categories. And this is what you have to deal with in your life. So God clearly explains all of us and groups us in categories from which we cannot remove ourselves. So I hope you can take heed from this and have some understanding from it, and make the necessary corrections, or at least have some understanding about who you are and where you belong, at least right now. So good luck, and peace.